Hi everyone, my name is Erica, and this is part one to my medical life story. Um, my medical emergency began at the age 17 when I had my son Christopher. I ended up having to have my son by C-section because he was breech. 3 days after having my son, I was released to go home from the hospital. 6 hours after leaving the hospital, I returned back to the hospital with a 0.01 chance of living. And the reason I ended up with only a 0.01 chance of living is because I ended up catching an infection called strep A. The strep A then turned to necrotizing fasciitis. What necrotizing fasciitis is, it's a flesh-eating bacteria that eats through your flesh in a matter of minutes. Within 3 days, this flesh-eating bacteria ate through my whole lower abdomen. It even ate through my uterus. Well, upon arriving back to Hardin Memorial Hospital, the doctors there didn't know what to do or why I had caught such a bad infection like that in such a little bit of time. So the doctors there weren't experienced enough to deal with the infection that I had caught. So they ended up having to fly me from Hardin Memorial Hospital to University of Lexington. And when I arrived to University of Lexington, they ended up having to immediately put me into an induced coma. The reason they had to put me into an induced coma is because I had to go into immediate surgery and have a big hole cut out of my lower abdomen, which, as you can see, it goes from this hip here all the way down to there and to that hip there, and it goes all the way up to here. And you can see here that my belly button is on the side there. The reason they had to take all of that tissue out is because the bacteria ate all of it. There was nothing there but my skin. The doctors at University of Kentucky first believed that it was cancer that had ate through everything. So they ended up calling in a cancer doctor, and when she had came in, she gave me my partial hysterectomy. After removing my uterus, she then biopsied the cells to see was it cancer, and that is when they then found out that it was strep A and necrotizing fasciitis that had ate through all of that tissue. After they removed the big hole that's down there that I just showed you, they ended up having to take like a clear bowl, kind of like a mixing bowl, and placing it into the hole that they had to cut out just to hold my organs in place, because there was no tissue or anything that they could place there to hold everything. Technically, I was a guinea pig to these doctors, and I'm honestly grateful that I was, because now if something like this happens again, these doctors know how to fix the problem. After my first surgery, getting the hole cut out and my uterus removed, I was then pumped with 500 pounds of antibiotics. And the reason they pumped me with so many antibiotics was because they didn't know how to stop the infection. And with me only having a 0.01 chance of living, there was no way that I could sign any papers or do anything because I was put into a medically induced coma. So my mom had to sign a waiver for the very last antibiotic. And I'm not positive the name of it, but I do know that there's only been 4 people in the world other than myself who have tried this antibiotic. And I am the first person who has actually lived after having the antibiotic. The antibiotics, the last antibiotic that my mother had to sign a waiver for, only had one side effect, and that side effect was death. But without that antibiotic, I would not be here today. I was on life support for the first 3 weeks after arriving to the hospital. And then after being on life support, they ended up taking me, and I was put on what they call a space bed. And the reason that I was put on the space bed was so all of those antibiotics that they pumped me up with could keep flowing through my body. So instead of it just sitting still, it kept my body moving, because a space bed circulates like this. And I had to be paralyzed before I could even be put on the space bed, because there's been patients who have been placed on that space bed who died because they were so scared after being placed on the space bed. So before they placed me on the space bed, they paralyzed me to where the only thing I can do is see. But still to this day, I could not tell you what I could see, because I don't remember seeing anything. I know during my coma, my time in my medically induced coma, I could hear. I can't tell you every single thing that I did hear, but I remember some things that I heard. I remember my sister yelling my name and running into the room, and I remember my brother saying that I better not die, and I remember me trying to speak back to them, but them not hearing me. This is the first part to my medical story, and there's going to be a lot more parts to it, because there was a long procedure to get me where I am now. And I hope you guys stay tuned to find out what happened next and what's continuing to happen still till this day, 12 years later. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.